Very good afternoon everyone. In our previous class we have discussed about Lamarckism and its limitation. In this class we will be discussing about Darwinism, which is given by Charles Darwin by his observation in a ship called HMS Beagle. So what Darwinism states is the evolution occurs through natural selection. So if we go to Lamarckism, what he said, the acquired characteristics are inherited by the offspring. So it's completely wrong. So here we will learn what actually has happened. So this was mentioned in a book called Origin of Species. Like you can buy this book in Flipkart, it's not that much costly. Like in 150 or 200 rupees you can buy this. It's a good book. You can read it whenever you have time. So coming to this observation, there are 6 main observations of it. The first observation is overproduction. So overproduction, what does overproduction mean? So the name itself says that overproduction of offsprings. So when they overproduce the offsprings, like there will be a chance of survival. So if we take a fish, so it will lay some hundreds and hundreds of eggs. But from hundreds of eggs, only few will be germinated, right? So this increases the survival rate. So for suppose, so if this fish lays only 10 eggs, so how many of them will survive? Not even one sometimes. So that's the reason why the fish or some other rabbits or they lay more eggs. Like if we talk about rabbit, they give birth to more kind of rabbits. So if we take fish, the same happens there. So they lay some hundreds and hundreds of eggs. So because at least few of them will survive and will go to next step in it. So this is the reason why some of the organisms they overproduce. And next we have limited resources. So if we take our earth, it's not an unlimited resourceful place because there are different kinds of animals and there are different kinds of organisms. Like there is too much competition for everything. So the air is limited, the food plus shelter. These are the main things that we needed are limited. So if there is unlimited food, if there is unlimited shelter, so if there is unlimited food, what will happen? So there will be no competition at all. So if we take Earth, it is a very restricted place. So few organisms can survive in one place and few organisms can survive only on one place. That's the reason why Earth is a very limited space. So here the food and the shelter or whatever the things it is very limited in nature. And this limitedness causes competition between organisms. So this competition leads to struggle for existence. So the competitions are intraspecific interspecific and environmental. So intraspecific means the competition between the same species. Competition between same species. So we take a lion. If a lion competes with another lion, it means it is an intraspecific competition. And coming to this interspecific, it means between species. So it will be like a fight, a competition between lion and a leopard, or a lion or with a hyena. And environmental stress. So there might be cyclones or drought or floods. So all these are struggle for existence. So if we see here, there are hundreds and hundreds of fish eggs are formed. So in them only few of the eggs will be gone to the next generation. I mean next step. So now they went into the next step. So here the resources are very limited. If there are unlimited resources, like everything will live in at its peak. But here in the earth, everything is limited. When it comes to food or shelter, whatever it is, everything is limited. And this causes struggle for existence. So which means we have intra-specific competition. Means a struggle between same species. A struggle like an example of lion with lion or with a man with another man. Interspecific competition between species like a lion with a hyena or a lion with a leopard or a leopard with a cheetah. All these are known as interspecific. Means the between the species. The competition is between the species. The competition is within the species, then it is known as intraspecific. And environmental issue. Sometimes the cyclones or droughts or floods, they might create some vulnerable conditions. So it's hard to survive during those conditions. So variations. So these variations are small. So they will increase generation after generation. So example, let's take an example. So I'm not different. No single organism is same. So I'm different, you are different, and he is different and she is different. So if we consider giraffe neck. So in Lamarckism we are talking about giraffe. So there giraffe with long neck, short neck and medium sized neck. Giraffes. Variations means different kinds of organisms. So if we take a giraffe, so some of them are long-necked giraffes, and some of them are medium-necked giraffes, and some of them are short-necked giraffes. So if we take an organism or a species, there are different kinds of organs in it, like there are different kinds of variations in them. So it is known as variations. And then comes the word survival of the fittest. Here fittest means the organism which can be more adaptable. Fittest doesn't mean it is strong. The survival of the fittest means the organism which is more adaptable than other organisms. So if we take here the long-necked giraffes and short-necked giraffes and medium-necked giraffes. So there is a drought. So there is a struggle for existence called drought. There is a drought. So there are no leaves on the floor. There are only few leaves which are on the top of the tall trees. So what will happen now? Only this will survive, and this will be eliminated. So here the long-necked giraffes are the fittest ones because they are more adaptable to them. And coming to natural selection itself acts like a selector. So I will take an example. So example of this is, the best example is industrial melanism. So before industrial revolution, the tree barks are very light in color. So the peppered moth, there are two kinds of moths, the dark winged moths and the light winged moths. So before industrial revolution in the 18th centuries and 17th centuries, so the barks of the trees are very light. So when the light colored moth comes and sits on the bark of the tree, it is not visible to the other predators. So when this dark colored moth comes and sits on the bark, it is visible to the predators and it used to kill, it used to get killed. And after some time, when the revolution, industrial revolution has happened, so after some time, like after a decade or two or three decades, so all the trees barks became black because of industrial revolution. So now what happened is, in the beginning what we thought, there is a light colored bark, when the peppered moth has entered into it, like it is not visible, like it is like camouflage. So nothing can see it and nothing can kill it. But when next we have industrial melanism. Industrial melanism. So this natural selection can be best explained with an example called, it acts like a selector, and the best example for this is industrial melanism. So remember this example, it is one of the most important examples of NEET. So the industrial melanism, it is because of natural selection. So it is too important. 5-star rating for this industrial melanism. So before industrial revolution, the tree barks are very light in color. So the tree barks are very light in color. So there used to be an insect called peppered moth. So there are two kinds of peppered moth, light colored and black one, dark colored. So when the light colored one used to sit on the bark of the tree, so it used to mix camouflage with the bark so that the predators cannot see the insect. So when the dark one sits on the bark, so it is easily visible to the predators. So it used to get killed by them. So what happened after industrial revolution is, so these barks became darker because of pollution or industries. Now what happened is, when a light colored one sat on this or appeared on this, it used to get killed easily because, see this, if there is a black pepper, if there is a white mark on it, it is easily visible. In the same way, the bark is black in color and the moth is light in color. So it is easily visible to the predators and it used to get easily killed. But what happened here with the dark ones is, now the dark one is merged with the black colored bark. So it is hard for them to get killed. So before the industrial revolution, light colored moths survived more and the dark used to get killed easily. But after industrial revolution, what happened here is, the bark became black color and it is more supportive to the black one, but the light one got easily trapped and killed. So this is known as natural selection. So this natural selection, survival of the fittest, variations and struggle for existence and limited resources and overproduction, all these things one by one then leads to origin of new species. This is what Darwinism is. These are the things that are observed by Darwin. So Darwin, in his theory called natural selection, which is present in the book Origin of Species, which he gave by exploring with a ship called HMS Beagle, has observed and he gave some observations. So the first observation is overproduction. So overproduction means producing more and more number of offsprings. So when there is more and more number of fish produce like hundreds and hundreds of eggs. In those hundreds, only 10 or 20 will germinate. That's the reason why overproduction is important for evolution. And then we have limited resources. So Earth is not an unlimited resourceful place. Here everything is limited. Food is limited, shelter is limited, and everything is limited. And this limitedness leads to struggle for existence. Means competition between, if there is competition between the same species, it means intraspecific competition. The competition is between the species, different species, then it is known as interspecific competition. So sometimes, due to some unforeseeable conditions like cyclones, storms or floods, the struggle of existence will become difficult. So organisms which can survive the limited resources and the competition or the environmental stress, they will go to the next step called variations. So now variations means different kinds of individuals. We have an example called giraffe. So here there are three kinds of giraffes: a long-necked giraffe, short neck and a medium neck. These are known as variations between organisms. And then we have survival of the fittest. What we think is fittest means strongest one, not the strongest one. Fittest means the organisms which are more adaptable to the conditions are known as survival of the fittest organisms. So if we consider this as an example, there is a drought and the entire grass on the floor has disappeared. And now there is only grass, not grass, there are only leaves which are present on the tall trees. So now what will happen? This cannot survive and this cannot survive. So only this can survive. This is more adaptable to those conditions. That is the reason why long-necked giraffes are the fittest ones. So that's the reason why they are the only ones who survive till now. And then we have natural selection. The best example for natural selection is industrial revolution. So natural selection itself acts like a selector. So if we take industrial revolution, so before industrial revolution, the bark of the tree is very light in color. So when a moth, insect called peppered moth, there are two kinds of moths, a light colored one and a dark one. So before industrial revolution, the bark of the tree is very light in color. When the light one used to fall on this, it is not visible for the other predators. But when the dark one falls on it, it is easily visible and it used to get killed by them. So during then, the population of light colored moths is more and the dark colored moth is very less. So after industrial revolution, what happened is the bark of the tree became black. So it helped dark ones. So dark ones can easily merge into the black ones. So the population of dark moths has increased. And then the light moths. So when if you take a black colored pepper, so if there is a white dot on it, we can easily find it. In the same way, the black bark and the light colored moth, what will happen? It can easily get killed by them. So the population of light colored moth is decreased. So this is the example of natural selection. When an organism of the species which can pass through all this will lead to a new species called speciation. So in the next class, we'll talk about speciation and the limitations of Darwinism. And that's it for today's class, and thank you. Have a nice day.